Hey guys. So this is another just impromptu vlog because that's how I do these things. um so guys, oh my gosh, I've been going through life so differently than ever before. And I want to just kind of recap some of what I've my own experience from my own thing, and also kind of some of the things that I've been learning. And I hope to relate to some and to resonate with some, and just also throw out some understanding if you're seeing someone that go through something similar and things like that. So I'm just gonna be straightforward and honest, like about like what I've got going on, some of my own dark side, some of my own interests, some of my own lead up of life. I've just and I've been very open about this on my blog, lovinglifewithlee.com, that I had the baby. It was great. We wanted the baby, and I started the blog as kind of a parenting blog and just about loving life and getting happy and getting set up. And I knew when I had the baby that I was going to have some change. And this was big motivation for me to make those changes. And so, it started with nesting, but it went a lot more than just nesting for me. It went into a life purge, habit changes. My motto for my first year was of me really changing my habits and my ways was a little bit every day is more in every way. Just a little bit, one step forward of better is closer than not doing anything at all. And some of my first habits and things about myself that I tried to change was just being lazy, being careless, not being like clean, not giving a crap what was around me and what my environment was. I've spent the last 5 or 6 years being very focused on helping other people, and really avoiding myself and what I want out of life. And that's of my own making and my own doing. And I have my reasons for kind of punishing myself in certain ways for doing certain things. And so this is kind of really a reliving kind of thing for me, that I have some big changes that I've wanted to make for a really long time, and I just haven't had the courage or the motivation or the drive to like change my life and become who I want to be instead of this person that I don't like, and gaining little bits of insight about who I am and who I want to be and what I like doing, and realizing the fact that I'm not really doing any of those things. I'm not really around the people that I want to be around more of, and I'm not able to have those relationships because I've set myself up kind of for failure all these years. And how do you go about changing your life like that? Well, you just start making changes one after the other, and eventually your life starts to kind of unfold, and you start working with your mind a little bit more. You start to become a little bit more aware of what you're doing wrong, you're becoming. And so more recently, through my house purge and through just living with my mom, through just this drive to address my posture and my overall like health a little bit more than normal. And because I don't really care. I'm not very materialistic. I don't really give, I'm not like the cleanliest. I like that I have dreadlocks. Like I don't know. I don't know how much, I've really put that much care into myself. I'm kind of a don't give a fuck type. And so I started to give a fuck about myself. And I started to want to know who I was and remember who I was. And I started doing some of the things that I really enjoyed doing, and researching again some of the things that I really wanted to research, asking myself and asking the world and asking the people around me like the questions I've always craved to know the answers to. And I started getting answers, like I said in one of my last vlogs, and that's just been a really magical thing for me. But the hard part became when I started looking in the mirror, when I started looking at the shadow, when I started looking at the dark stuff, when I started remembering and having new visions that felt a little crazy. I have a crazy side. I have a dark side. I have a deceitful, manipulative, crazy ginger thing. And so I started to want to understand that and transmute that from the bad into the good. And I had some very triggering things start to occur. I had some very triggering meditations. I had some very triggering materials in the form of like music, old journals, conversations with past friends, and just a variety of different very triggering things. And I was kind of in a dark headspace. I had kind of gotten down to having to dig up the graves, having to go back to my old, like, darkest like inner world fantasies, some of my ghosts, some of the things that haunt me, some of the things that I've always been afraid of, sort of kind of coming back to memory. And I dealt with a lot of the emotional stuff with the people involved. So when some of these more darker things started to, and when you're in that dark place, you really start to see and notice in the people around you and in your past and stuff. And like, you can look at anyone and see the light side or the dark side, because they both very much exist. Nobody is perfect. If you're looking at any one person, you can see their flaws or you can see their flower and their fauna. And it's all about where you are when you look at them. It's not about what they are, because they are both. They are what they are. It's about how you perceive it. And, there's something to be said. I'll throw some energy science out there too. I'm a science nut. I'm a psychology kid. I'm into criminal mind. I'm into I'm kind of into the outworldish, kind of taboo stuff that people don't normally talk about. And like some of the religions, some of the sacred and ancient texts across the board, some of the more secretive bits of stuff, the stuff that you can't really put a pin on as fact, and what I kind of do, and I've always kind of done, is take little bits of things and remember and apply what makes sense to me, and kind of take and give. And I've just kind of accepted that there's a lot of the world that's unknown, and I like and appreciate that those unknown aspects, especially if I can understand the unknown. Then I get really excited. I'm just like, dark side. We all have those things about us that are exciting only to us, that we can only understand. And the kind of the more like, ooh, type of stuff about life, I'm really is really of high interest to me, and especially if it has to do with the mind, the body, and more recently the soul. So with that being said, this was getting kind of dark for my mind to be able to control anymore. And with all the kind of past timeline travel conversations that I was having, some of the darker stuff on the web, it kind of eats at you. It's hard. It's a dark place. And I've been going about this in a very spiritual way as well, I must admit. And I don't really care to describe that or push that on anybody. But for me to say that this has been a bit more than just a day-to-day experience and has been a very spiritually awakening experience is putting it as lightly as possible. I've had very intense moments, and one of these could be described as the dark night of the soul. And I wrote a post about this, but it really was a couple of days there for me were really dark, really overtaking, really changing. And I think this stems from my concept, my conditioning. One of the final last mental blocks that I had to get through was this demonized, Christianized way of looking at good and evil that comes from my own conditioning and my own upbringing, which I have tried over and over and over to crumble in the past, and I've always failed. Fear has always won this battle within me. And I was in a very emotional place as well with some people and some situations in my life, in my relationships, my partnerships, with, the kind of the ever-going battle of masculine, feminine, was definitely a difficult phase. some difficult misunderstandings and things, occurred after that, because of what I had gone through in those darker moments, those darker days, things that I did, and some things that I definitely need to do differently. And that's been a thing, is like, I'm really trying to do things differently, do things the right way, do what I want to do and what I need to do, not just what I need to do, not just what I want to do, but things that I need to do and want to do. And it's just been hard, not only for me to swallow, but some aspects of this have been difficult for other people to see and understand and talk about. And like, I'm a upfront, confrontational ass person. I need to, as a friend of mine has said, he said he's more reflect and act and then reflect, and I'm trying to get there. I very much need to reflect more before I act, and this is something that I need to be reminded of, and I'm working on. So I'm really trying to do life better and to be a better person here. I'm just still down to make mistakes and things, and I've really, this dark exposure of myself has really made me just a lot less afraid about the things that I don't know. And I've done some nar research, okay, like a gnarly hardcore in-depth research on the spirit and the science of what's going on. I have come to some really good, guys, I'm gonna share it with you on the vlog step by step here, but ooh, I'm so pumped to be where I am right now. I am so ready to take what I've learned, what I have experienced in my life, and make it worth something, and be doing it in the way that I've always wanted to do it. The only thing that's missing is me getting straightened out, my environment and the people that I want to be around me, to be with. And so I've got a lot to do here. But I'm just down to do it. So down to do it. I've got to admit, a big key thing for me is timing. It's like one of those things that, like, I've got to nitpick with. My timing sucks. My navigation skills suck as well. But like, my timing needs to be worked on. And one of the things that I've really appreciated in the studies that I do and the tools that I use, astrology, the stars, man, lead me so much in understanding not only who I am, what I'm meant to do, when I start realizing what it is that I'm really meant to do, and like what it is that I can do, where my power really is. And honestly, being led then on a day-to-day basis with where the stars and the energies and the understanding that I have about psychology applied to astrology. And man, things are in such a good place for us everywhere to really get guidance and to really become what it is that we want to be, and achieve what it is that we want to achieve, that we're meant to achieve. And so I'm going for it, and I'm definitely doing better. I don't think this darker stuff, has lingered. I think it's diffused. I think it's disintegrated. And I think a lot of this darkness has definitely been of my own making and my own creation. And I'm ready to own that as much as I possibly can in any given opportunity. So if there's anyone out there that, wants to, I don't know, anything that you want, I'm so down. I'm as in love with myself as I am right now. I'm in love with humans. in general, like in this planet, this existence, these moments in time. I'm very much in love with existence, in love with the idea of creation, in love with the idea of change, of chaos, and in a really light, good way, a balanced way, and big changes for my blog, for me, and hopefully for my friends, who I'm really not so worried about anymore, simply because I'm not so worried about myself anymore. It's kind of a twofold deal, and I'm going to stick to this. But, you know, this as above, so below, as above is definitely the case. You know, when you start working on yourself and you start really just giving it a whole lot of shit more care about you and what you do and who you are and what you're supposed to do, what you came here to do, and really start questioning, you know, all of that, then, I don't know, life seems to be a lot more worth it. Not fixing mistakes. It's hard to do, but it's worth it. Truth, it's hard to swallow. It's hard to swallow. Truth is a sword. It's a double-edged sword. And swords, although can be swallowed, careful. Be careful with truth. But it must be willed. It must be dueled. It must be used. My biggest problem has always been just not lying to, even to others, but by lying to myself, I lie to others. And this is what I need to change. No more. It's not okay that I don't lie to other people to lie to myself. I'm not hiding. I think that's it, guys. Wish me luck. Follow my Facebook page if you haven't already, because it's really the only kind of social media I'm really gonna care to update a whole lot, because I've got life to live. You know, I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna lead as best as I can. I'm gonna follow the best that I can, and I'm gonna stick to it. Like, I want to become the teacher that I'm meant to be, and the student that I'm meant to be. I am going back to school, not in a college sense, but in a me sense. I probably am one of the only people that I'm the only one that gets that right now. But I'm going back to school, and I'm stoked. I love myself. I love you. I love everybody. Again, we are all equals. If you haven't already, subscribe, and please be watching the blog. I've got some really, really important stuff, really important resources. I'm trying to be better at putting in the resources for you guys and doing this blog thing from, you know, top to bottom like it should be done, and setting that example. So expect a lot more sources, expect a lot more meat in the stuff that I'm saying, within my own experiences, but also just the stuff that I'm learning and combining, in the science and the stuff, the real stuff, to start really coming out in a really non-afraid, confident, like, I know what I'm talking about kind of way, because I've spent my whole life preparing for this unfolding that is going on within me and is going to start unfolding for you guys to be able to see in ways of blog and vlog. So thanks for subscribing, thanks for following along, and just keep on keeping on. Peace out.